Hi and welcome to my playhouse. And today we are in the creepy basement. This it looks really creepy this way. It looks like the whole house is coming apart. But yeah, I'm in the battery room. You might be able, I don't know, if editing Morten remembers to get that high-pitched sound out of the hearing. Well, I'm getting old, so I can't hear it much anyway. So today is the very last day in my 40s. Tomorrow I'll be in my 50s. Crap. These videos are pre-recorded, so it's you've already seen the last one, and I have already had my birthday when you see this. So let's get right over that. But thank you very much for all the well wishes and birthday greetings. Thank you very much. I'm hoping there might be a few. But right now it's about a year ago that I connected my solar system here in the basement. Well, it's a year and a little bit, but we are at a point where all the numbers has come in, where I paid the power company and gotten money back from the power company and all of that stuff. So today we're just gonna have a look at how did the first year go, and it has gone okay, I must say. It hasn't made itself back yet, I can assure you that, but yeah, let's have a look. So today this is my inverter. It's a Dia. It's a 12 kilowatt 3-phase inverter. It's a very popular inverter here in Denmark and other European countries. It's a horrible day today, so we are getting like 48 watts in. So we are running on batteries. Luckily, we have a lot of batteries. So over here we have the watt cycle batteries. That's the 2 shells here. Then we have these are the time USB batteries, and in here we have my first battery pack, which is the Redodo batteries, and all of this is running okay. I have had some issues with these. They have a tendency when they get well, actually this battery has had a tendency to be the main battery, the one that has been doing the best, which means that all the power would run through this switch here, or breaker, which meant that this breaker heated up and disconnected. Well, it disconnected sometimes, and then it became so warm that the plastic for the disconnecting thing, it broke inside. So this is the second switch that is on here. So there is that. So it doesn't do that much anymore because we have added another big battery, which is over here, which is the this one, the Yixi Yang DIY 16 kilowatt hour with very big cells inside. So 16 kilowatts, and over here we have like 20 kilowatts of watt cycle. We have, well, how much is that? That's about well, we have 5 kilowatts of Redodo, and we have 2.5 kilowatts of times USB batteries. So when I added the 16 kilowatts battery over here, the issue with the switch went away. So when I got this, it solved more than one problem. I have had another problem though that was really annoying, and that was I was using the battery, and then suddenly, even though the battery said that it was good, so let's check the battery. Right now it says it's at 87%. You can kind of see that here. I was at like 60%, and then it went from 60% to 0%, just like that. It's like it had totally miscalculated what was in the battery. So the voltage, even though it was dropping drastically, it still thought that, well, there's lots of power here. So I had an issue with that. That was kind of annoying that it did that. But other than that, I think more or less except this mess that I have down here that I haven't cleaned up, done anything with. It has run really well, I must admit. And we'll go see the numbers, so we'll see that it has actually been running really well. And also these battery equalizers are keeping the batteries well balanced. So each of these two batteries are a battery bank, so 24 volts, a total of 48 volts. But that doesn't mean that this battery don't want to charge more than that battery. So this battery equalizer makes sure that those two batteries, if one of them gets out of balance, well, this will just throw some power to the other battery in that case. So yeah, that has been working really well, and all of them are within where I would expect them to be. Oh, this one is a little bit, the first one. Sometimes the measuring is weird. So, what does this one? Go on. Okay. That wire is ever so slightly too short. And this is why we're not producing any power whatsoever. The sun should be over there somewhere. It might be. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able to pinpoint where it's at, but it should be over there somewhere. Solar panels agree. We don't know where it is. Okay, so we moved to the computer where my dear cloud thing is spinning up. We can actually see that I have done a total of 5.33 megawatts since I connected the system about a year ago. And this month we have done a 32.8 kilowatt hours. That is nothing. And right now we are now up to 53 watts. Woohoo! Yeah, that is, well, it actually more or less covers what the computer uses, I guess. Probably the computer on one screen and then the rest is of battery. So, down here is the inverter. It takes a little bit. We see what's going on. 53 watts coming in. It's also taking in a little bit from the grid at this second, but most is coming from the batteries down here. So I thought we would have a look at what has been going on for the last year. So that is down here. This is just this month. If we change to year, we can see the different months. This is everything that has happened this year, but I had it connected last year, so we have to go back a year. And we will be able to see that it was connected here in October of 2024. It didn't do much. It did actually do a little bit, but it didn't do great. The green one on top here is the one to look out for. It would be nice if that thing would disappear. The green is the solar coming in. The light blue is discharge, so what is coming out of the battery. The purple one is what I'm buying from the grid, and the blue one is what has been charged onto the battery, and the orange yellow one at the bottom is my consumption. That's how that is explained. So the larger the green is compared to the purple, the better it is. So in these months last year, I wasn't able to produce much. You see December here, I produced 33.3, but I had to purchase 435.9, so that's almost 436 kilowatt hours. So I didn't do much of that. That wasn't a big percentage. So let's go forth 1 year, and we can see January was ridiculously bad. I purchased a whole lot, and we will see that as well. And when we get to the numbers of what I paid for electricity. February was a little bit better. I did a lot of power consumption in that period of time. So you can see the graphs gets a lot smaller because I'm trying not to use as much power, because I figured out how expensive that was. When you get solar panels, you don't only produce power, you also get very aware of how much you're using and what it costs. But in March, it's difficult to show you, it's that one. I produced almost the same amount as my consumption. You can see there is, the green one is 248.9 and the yellow one is 267.6. So there's less than 30 kilowatt hours difference from what I was producing to what I was using. But then from there on, you see the green are getting very big here, and suddenly there is also a reddish light red, and that is power sold to the power company, and that goes up quite a bit in those months. So we will see that when we get to the spreadsheet of how this has worked out. And you can see the very last one, the 11th month over there. We are not far. We are on the 9th of November here, so it isn't very big yet. Could move the thingy over here and see what I've done. We can see those 32.8 kilowatt hours that I have produced this month, but I have used 71.4, and therefore I have also purchased 76.8. Most of that, some of that is still in the batteries, so I can still use some without purchasing anything anymore. But what I do is every day I set in the morning. Over here is today, and these graphs show that thingy is just bloody annoying. This shows the graphs, and this graph that goes up very highly there is set to at 3 o'clock at night. It will pump the batteries up to 90%. 3 o'clock at night is usually, power is usually well priced at that point. Sometimes you can get a little bit cheaper a little bit sooner, and sometimes you can get it cheaper a little bit later. At the moment the power price is not moving very much over a day. We could see that. I can show you that. Okay, this is the power prices today. This is the power price with taxes, and if I remove all the taxes and just get the raw power, you can see it becomes even more smooth. And the power price has moved from moving every hour to moving every quarter of an hour, so we can get it even more sophisticated there. So if I wanted to buy at the best price, it would be there at 7 o'clock to 7:15. But yeah, I have it set to 3 o'clock here, and 3 hours, so there's a nice smooth plane here. I could do a little bit better, but it's cents. It's not a lot of money. So right now it doesn't really matter much when I purchase the power. Just don't buy it around here, because if we put the taxes on, there's a little bit more taxes in that period of time where everybody needs power, which is annoying, but that's just how it is. So I purchased the power over here and then run on battery all the time for the rest of the day. So that is working out. Plus, I don't charge the battery up to full 100%, because if there is any solar, I want there to be room for that as well. So even if it's just 3-4 kilowatt hours of power that I could do in a whole day, I want it. Okay, this is another look. This is like 20 days ago, a little bit more than that, about 20 days ago. And this is what it looks like when there's a lot of difference in the power price. So down here we are buying the power for about 50 cents, and up here it's 3 Danish kroners. So yeah, it is possible to buy the power and store it in your batteries down here and sell it to the power company back up here. I have had a little bit of luck with that. Right now it's not possible because there's not enough movement in the power price. This is my spreadsheet that I have produced for you this morning, and I'm gonna very quickly tell you what this is. This column over here is my power consumption before I connected my solar panels. This is the year before I connected them, and the price is in Danish kroners. So in December 2023 I paid 571 Danish kroners for power, and January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So there's 12 months here, and that comes to a total here of 11,363 Danish kroners, 0.57. I live alone and I only have my very expensive server hobby thing, so that is a decent amount of power for one person. It comes out to this amount. I call it 950 Danish kroners a month in power consumption over a year. So all of these added together and divided by 12 becomes 947-ish Danish kroners, 950 Danish kroners. And for my American viewers, I have converted that into dollars. So my total amount, which is 11,363.50, comes out to $1,761 for power over a year, and that is $146.82 a month. I don't know if that's a lot or if it's not a lot. It's a lot because it's not as much power as what an American would be using, but the amount is probably similar to what an American would be using. So we get a lot less for the amount. Not that I need it. And then I have last year in October, which is actually right about there, I had my my inverter connected, but all of this is paid 1 month later. So October becomes November. So November was actually the numbers for October. And as I didn't get it in the start of October, I am calculating from December, which was an awful month. So this is this column over here is after I got my inverter connected. These numbers. The first one is gray up here because I'm not using that for my calculation because it's only just the last part of October that is reflected in my November prices. So, but December, which was an awful month power-wise, because I used a whole shit ton of power. Yeah, I messed up really badly there and turned on my big water heater and left it on. Sorry, that would have been in November and that would have been in December when I wasn't there. Okay, sorry, my mistake. This is when I got the bill. So in January I paid that amount, and that amount was from what I used in December. And yeah, it gets a little bit confusing, but nevertheless I used apparently a lot of power in November, not as much in December, and December was when I was in Portugal with my family. And then February and March I also used a lot of power, and then the sun came up and it went drastically down. So in April it dropped below what I have seen most of the months over here. So that was really good. But then it just, all of these months has just more or less been running off of solar, and most of this I haven't purchased much power at all. Most of it is just the fees to be connected to the grid, which is probably very close to that amount. It costs that amount just to have the option to use grid power. So I can't get much lower than that. So that comes out to a total this year that I've purchased for 48 Danish kroners. That is an average of 645 Danish kroners. Compared to what it was last year, that is still 300 Danish kroners less a month. And if I hadn't messed around up here, it would have been a lot better. That one is a killer for my good math. But in dollars, I have then over the whole year, I've only used $1,200, $1,201, and that comes out to about $100 a month in power usage. So that's like $47 better than last year. So quite an improvement dollar-wise. But I have also earned money on my solar. So there is an earning column over here. First month I didn't make anything, and these are just I think the inverter sends something back to the grid. More or less, I think it's just measuring errors. I'm not sure, it doesn't matter. The numbers are so tiny, it's less than a Danish kroner, and a Danish kroner is like 1/6 of a dollar, so it's cents. But then I figured out here how to sell power back to the power company, and that is also about the time where there's enough solar for that. So I actually started making good money here, and it became quite the sport to see if how much I could make. It's not a huge amount, but it offsets the price of the power company quite a lot when we get to the end. The next month was my best one when the sport was really good. So you can see that I've actually made 485 Danish kroners and only used for 154 Danish kroners. So I've made something like 300 Danish kroners, 330 Danish kroners that month. And all the following month, I've all made more money of selling power to the grid than I have purchasing power. This one is very close, October, and I must admit that became quite the sport to try and just beat that number. It took way more effort than it was worth to actually do that. This month I'm not going to be able to sell anything. No solar is coming in, and the solar that is coming in is just good enough to put on the battery, and I'm going to be purchasing power. So in November here, I'm not going to be able to beat the number at all. But the numbers comes out to that I've made a total of, let's call that 2,400 Danish kroners ish, and that is 200 Danish kroners per month. Even though there are some months that haven't done very well, still comes out to 200 Danish kroners per month. So that is an amount that I can subtract from that one, and we get this amount. So this is the amount that I've spent on power every month, which becomes considerably better than that amount of power. But in dollars, I have made a total of $371 of power over the last year. So that amount in Danish kroners becomes that amount in dollars that I've sold power to the power company for, and that can then be subtracted from that amount. And I've done that over here in this column. I've just taken what I've paid to one company and what I've been paid by another company. I've separated it, so I buy my power from one company and I sell it to another company, just to make the math simple. So a total I have used 5,353 Danish kroners on power this year from the power company, when I subtract what I've made from the other power company. And that is 446 Danish kroners per month. That comes in dollars. I have then, that's $830 the whole year. And that comes out to about $70 per month. And the last column over here, I've figured out how much have I saved compared to last year. So this year I've saved 6,000 Danish kroners. That is 500 Danish kroners per month. And in dollars, that is 932-ish dollars savings. And that is $77.65 per month. So that is the math behind all of this. And with a saving of 6,000 Danish kroners over the last year, the payback time is quite considerable. I am hoping to get well, these numbers, I'm hoping to get those down this year. And I'm hoping to do that by buying power when it's cheapest and using it the rest of the day, like I'm doing right now. I'm not going to be able to get them down a lot, but I'm hoping for something like that, like 600 Danish kroners for power, where I used to pay 2,683 Danish kroners. That would be quite the improvement on the math for the next year. So I have started to milk this cash cow a little bit. I need to get better at this before it's a really good deal, but everything is now in place and I'm getting smarter on it. This first year I've done a lot of stupid mistakes over the year, like setting this wrong. At a point I had set it to I set it wrong, so it would only supply the first 100 watts of what I was using, and then it would purchase the rest. And some stupid little mistakes like that can cost you a little bit, not a lot of money, but in your good math, to make it look good, it destroys the math when you make enough of those little stupid mistakes. Plus this thing, the water heater, that is really expensive to run. 300 liters of water, heat that up and keep it warm. I have figured out that costs me like 12 kilowatt hours of power a day, and that is a lot for an inverter. I do have 44 kilowatt hours of battery storage at the moment, and if I don't use something stupid like that, that can last me 4 to 6 days. So I can purchase the power on a really cheap day when it's really well priced. More or less every hour that it's cheap, I can pump about a day worth of power into the batteries. So if a day has 3 really cheap hours, I can pump the batteries in those 3 hours, and there will be enough power for powering my house for the next 3 days. So an hour to a day. But yeah, there is still room for more batteries over here, so I'm probably gonna get some more. So the math on the payback is gonna be even worse at some point. It's also a bit fun. It's way more fun than paying the power company. Investing in the power setup to pay the power company less is somehow feels way more rewarding. I much rather have the investment sitting in batteries than in invoices from the power company. So yeah, I would be very interested in hearing how your setup is doing, if you have a similar thing going on, if you are able to cut down on your power usage, and what have you done to improve on it. Am I doing something wrong? Could I do something better? Be nice in the comments. But thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again, and have a really nice day. Bye bye.